The return of the Brown family was supposed to be a clean slate, but what went down off camera was anything but. Secrets were revealed, tensions were high, and for the very first time, the women took center stage with voices that couldn't be silenced. What did happen to the money? And is this the end of Kody's journey, or the start of theirs? You won't believe how far it's gone. Watch now and find out what season 20 was never intended to reveal. It was meant to be a new beginning, a season full of hope, healing, perhaps even a bit of redemption. But instead, it began with silence, chilly glances, awkward pauses. Sometimes those can speak louder than words ever could. And in the background, a storm was building, quiet at first, like the quiet before. Thunder, but it soon didn't remain so. For more than a decade, we've seen the Brown family form, evolve, fumble, and push the boundaries of what it means to be a family. We've seen them enjoy meals and heartbreak, aspirations and letdowns. Most of us even cheered them on, not because they were flawless, but because they were attempting. But something is different now. It's heavier, more conclusive. You ever have one of those moments, perhaps with a friend, a sibling, even a spouse, when there's something unspoken in the air, a tension you can't quite define, but everything shifts because of it? That's where our story starts. Camera may still be rolling, but what they're filming now isn't a family struggling together. It's the silent disintegration of something that once struggled so much to keep itself intact, for the sake of tradition, for the children, perhaps even for the cameras. And at the helm of it all, a man who once navigated the ship, now seeing the wheel turn away from his grasp. But it's not just about Kody or Robyn, or even Christine, Janelle, or Meri. It's about what happens when control wanes, and voices long silent begin to be heard. There's a different kind of energy this season. Not the scripted chaos we've come to expect, but the slow burn of real consequences catching up, decisions that can't be walked back, paperwork that can't be unfiled, and questions that for the first time might finally get answered. Where did the money go? Why were some living in luxury while others struggled to keep the lights on? And maybe most importantly, who gets to tell this story its ending? For viewers who've been watching since the early seasons, back when family dinners were still crowded and Coyote Pass was just a dream, this chapter might feel both familiar and deeply unsettling. Because what we're witnessing now isn't just the fallout of failed marriages, it's the crumbling of a narrative, one carefully built, episode by episode, to present a unified front. But time has a tendency to expose the truth, particularly when individuals cease worrying about speaking up. There's Christine, towering higher than ever, softly asking the questions others won't. Janelle, who used to play peacemaker, now daring to draw her own fiscal line in the sand. Even Meri, herself on the fringes for years, clutching receipts and biting her tongue just a tad less. And then there's Robyn, tears in her eyes, a mansion behind her, still pleading to be understood, maybe even forgiven. It's complicated. And for those of us watching from a distance, it's not about choosing sides, it's about understanding how families fracture, and why some people stay too long while others finally walk away. We've seen the birthday parties, the road trips, the softly lit interviews about healing. But this is different. It's overdue audits, legal papers, emails never meant to be erased, and a subtle but unmistakable transfer of power. It's Christine coolly dropping a money trail, while producers shoot worried looks at each other. It's Kody, flushed and trapped, belatedly grasping the show will continue without him. And it's TLC, once eager to blur boundaries, now with a choice of their own to make, speak the truth or forfeit the trust forever. Because fans aren't demanding pyrotechnics, they're demanding honesty. They've been watching this family long enough to recognize when something isn't right. And this season, it isn't right. It's apart carefully, cruelly. And the question hanging in the air now is this: can a show founded on mutual commitment exist when the commitment itself is gone? Or is it time, beyond time, for the story to change? To the women who lived it, suffered it, and at last said enough. This is the time when secrets won't remain buried, where spin-offs are mentioned in hushed tones inside boardrooms, where lawsuits cast a shadow and trademark applications talk more than press releases. And it begins right here. So grab your coffee, get comfortable, and let's chat through what actually went down with season 20, why the Brown family's curtain call could be closer than anyone thought, and how amidst all the commotion, these women's quiet strength could be the last word. Because the truth, it's not just on the way. It's already here. Season 20 was meant to be their grand return, a new beginning, a new format, and perhaps even redemption for the Brown family. It was touted as the time when they'd show that there was something to watch after all. But what insiders say is the hype ran out of steam soon enough. Rather than a renewal, what they received was an awfully rude awakening. TLC made an urgent decision. The season was getting cut, not delayed, not adjusted, just halved. No ramp up, no heads up, just an email. One source revealed that the cast had been gearing up for a full run, 8 to 10 episodes at least. Then, bam, the punch in the gut, you'll be lucky if you get 4. Of course, the news traveled like wildfire. Group texts flashed, frustration gave way to perplexity, and then the breaking point. "I don't know what went wrong between us," someone who knows the cast allegedly said, "but it made me angrier and angrier until I was just like, yeah, I'm done. I'm at tension." Wasn't bubbling, it was steaming. Kody, who had been waiting all season for this to rehabilitate his reputation and possibly even position himself for his own spin-off, apparently lost it. He apparently lost it on set. Full blast yelling, pacing around the parking lot, ranting into his phone. It wasn't a stealthy breakdown. One of the staffers reported that he even cornered a junior producer, asking for explanations no one was empowered to provide. And when someone insinuated that the choice was made by upper network executives considering viewer feedback, Kody blew his stack. Telsey's higher-ups remained mum, however. But viewers, they were already trying to connect the dots. Ratings had fallen. Old viewers were tiring. The flack over Robyn's excessive spending and Kody's tantrums was not improving things either. To dedicated viewers, it was clear. Why do full season commitments to a family that can barely talk to each other on TV? Christine's remarried. Janelle's independent. Meri has her own ventures. And then there are Kody and Robyn. That marriage is no longer what keeps the show afloat. It's driving people away. Some point Robyn made a comment in a confessional that suggested how far the silence goes. There's just some things so painful you can't even talk about them. It was succinct but revealing. But what no one at TLC anticipated, supposedly, was what Kody did next. He didn't merely he threatened. He slammed a door so hard that it cracked the wall and yelled something akin to, "No show, no legacy, no war loyalty." A heat of the moment tantrum, or something more ominous, that remains to be seen. But within 24 hours, there was a phone call that sent eyebrows flying. A source present at one of the shoot trailers said Kody's voice rang out through the walls, angry, emotional, near crying. "I built this brand." He was yelling, "You think people are watching for Christine's tea parties?" A fellow cast member described the call as a combination of meltdown and negotiation. Kody allegedly threatened to double the number of episodes or lose him altogether. He referred to himself as the anchor of the show, the sole storyline still generating the drama, and accused the network of forgetting who built Sister Wives into what it is today. Tired of being betrayed, he's quoted as saying, "This whole divorce thing, it's become finger-pointing and trash-talking. And to be honest, that's where it's all ended up. Hurt feelings. Wounded egos, public finger-pointing. Producers, caught in the middle, attempted to placate. One even made general promises perhaps post-production could fit things in, perhaps doors could remain open for future seasons. But Kody wasn't having it. Sources indicate he even began pitching his own last-minute drama concepts. Kody wasn't finished. Not by a long way. Following that strained call with TLC, he reportedly began throwing around some outlandish last-minute proposals to maintain himself front and center. One of them, a showdown on camera. It wanted to have David Woolley sit down at the notorious truth table for a face-to-face on the scare. Another proposal, publicly grilling Janelle over her farm accounts. Aggressive moves, to put it mildly. But here's when things really went off the rails. Rumor has it, Kody threatened to break away completely. He supposedly floated the possibility of starting his own YouTube show, just him and Robyn, saying he didn't need a network to remain popular anymore. Networks don't own the spotlight, he supposedly told them. The production team wasn't exactly thrilled, but it wasn't the shouting that stunned them. It was what came afterwards. An executive reportedly reached out to Telsey's legal department right away. They wanted to know, what are our options if Kody walks out mid-season? Behind closed doors, the phrase being whispered was contingency phase. Translation: if the so-called nuclear dad goes rogue, who's going to carry the show? Could Christine and Janelle step up into the spotlight? Would Meri recede into a larger role? Or might the grown kids finally be coaxed into revealing all on camera? And then something interesting transpired. A couple of eagle-eyed viewers on Reddit noticed film crews lingering outside. Christine's Airbnb build out, without Kody in sight. Coincidence, perhaps. Or perhaps TLC had already begun trialing Plan B. Christine once said on camera, "We used to work together, buy cars for the kids, help each other out. Now it's like we're all on our own." That shift in unity, it's more than just emotional, it's financial too. And the money, that's where things went from heated to explosive. After Kody understood that a short season resulted in less dough, the storm really began. Sources say when the new payout figures were released, Kody didn't simply get angry, he supposedly lost his mind. Kody maintained that his contract specified full season compensation, regardless of how many episodes they produced. TLC's lawyers did not agree. Politely but firmly, they reminded him of the fine print, per episode, not per season. That tiny little clause, it may have been the tinder that ignited everything. But wait, it gets better. Not only did Kody resist the cut, but sources say he went further and asked for a raise. That's right, less episodes but a higher per episode paycheck? Why? Because, according to reports, the whole season would now be about him. Less family, more Kody, more drama, and that, in his opinion, was priceless. One of the crew captured it with a head shake. He just said, essentially, if I have to carry this season, you're going to pay for every sweat drop. LC was unconvinced. And as Kody was laying out his money demands in big letters, something else was quietly bubbling behind the scenes. From the other wives, in a previous segment, a producer had asked, when dividing Coyote past, do you believe Kody will be fair? Janelle didn't miss a beat. Absolutely not. He's not fair. He's greedy when it comes to money. And it seems she's been taking notes. Janelle, typically measured and even keel, made a quick pivot according to sources. She threatened producers that if Kody continued to attempt to claim a larger share of the cash cow, she'd speak out, with evidence. There were rumors of hidden assets, PayPal deposits, missing money from the Coyote Pass pool. Christine herself was reportedly standing behind her, and the grown-up children. Some have allegedly got screenshots to prove, particularly as regards Robyn's residence. Meri, though quieter than the others, has reportedly been seething for months, excluded from major financial decisions, excluded from planning. She hasn't said much in public, but insiders claim she's not as neutral as she appears. The serene smiles on TV, they could have some very turbulent emotions underneath. By this time, things were becoming fraught behind the scenes, very fraught. The producers were tiptoeing. Do they go all in on all of this drama and let the cameras keep rolling? Or do they play it cautious and shift the season quietly to focus on Christine and Janelle's more upbeat solo storylines? Either choice carried risks, but one thing was certain: none of them provided Kody with precisely what he had demanded, and that allegedly made him even more volatile regarding the future of the show. While TLC was busy doing damage control and realigning the budget, internet fans were already rallying, and quick. The backlash was not only loud, it had receipts. Once news broke regarding the reduced number of episodes, Reddit went ablaze. Thread after thread had one request: show us where the money went, or scrap the entire show. The fans had played nice enough. Some of the highest-ranked comments demanded TLC skip the fluff and finally get to the point. The monetary fallout of Coyote Pass. What had become of the profits from the sale? How did Robyn manage to end up in $1 million mansion while Janelle was struggling to keep her Ray from sinking into the ground? In one of her past interviews, Janelle quietly hinted at deeper problems. I'd ask Kody about the property, and he'd just get angry. Every time, and that says a lot. Viewers weren't just curious, they were furious. Who approved the alleged transfers that padded Robyn's lifestyle? Who made the call to prioritize one household while the others were left scraping by? The message from fans was clear: no more birthday parties, no more softly lit healing interviews. They wanted real conversations, unfiltered confrontations, and, above all, accountability. One viral comment summed it up perfectly: if this season doesn't show the money split and the audits on camera, we're done. Another roasted what they termed the Robyn Protection Program, calling out TLC for glossing over her spending and allowing Janelle, Meri, and Christine to absorb all the emotional fallout. And when someone likened the show's recent seasons to a decade-long con job, thousands of viewers clicked that upvote button eagerly. TLC listened, quick like a flash. The social media department of the network, which typically stays in business with lighthearted promo footage and viral hashtags, was tasked with a new responsibility: monitor viewer reaction, document key comments, and report internally. It wasn't about raising buzz, it was about extinguishing flames. According to insiders, emergency focus groups were hastily convened via Zoom. The question: how much trust does this show have remaining with viewers? The response: not much. One insider, who wished not to be named, explained that it was particularly troubled with the over 50 fans, the same dedicated bunch that had been following along from day one. They felt betrayed, claiming the show was no longer about the actual family, but rather Kody and Robyn's edited version thereof. They always claim it's a family story, one fan wrote, but the family no longer speaks to one another. And just when things couldn't seem more uncertain, more whispers started surfacing. Some fans began claiming that last season had key moments cut, real confrontations, financial discussions, even clips showing tension among the adult kids. With fewer episodes this time around, people are worried we're in for yet another highlight reel, stitched together, watered down, and glossing over the real story. Online sentiment was shifting fast, and TLC could feel it. And then there was another turn of events. this time from within the cast itself. Christine and Janelle, normally the voices of reason, allegedly threw in a requirement that shook things up. One that, insiders claim, left Robyn visibly on edge on set. It all went down in what was otherwise a relaxed run-of-the-mill production meeting. Nothing glamorous. But then the atmosphere changed. Christine faced Robyn, and in her even but assertive voice purportedly said something that brought the room to a halt. "I've realized I really can't live here, at least no longer." Robyn was the last to give up on the dream. For years, she held on to hope that the family would pull together again, that Kody Pass could still be their shared future. But finally she agreed, "Let's go ahead and sell." Christine seemed confident. "I'm pretty sure Meri and Janelle want to sell too." Initially, the meeting was relaxed. The cameras were turned off. Scripts were not being used. Everyone anticipated a normal production meeting. And then Christine, with Janelle quietly supporting her, dropped the sort of bomb that rocks everything. They demanded a full, on-camera examination of the Kody Pass books. No more ambiguity and tearful confessions. They wanted to know the nitty-gritty, where money went, who approved it, and how Robyn managed to come away with the largest slice. Producers allegedly went blank. One attempted to sidestep by citing needing to be sensitive to family privacy. But Christine wasn't having it. "Privacy didn't stop you from taping our divorces," she reportedly snapped. "So why now?" The room fell silent. Kody, red-faced and allegedly shaking, got up and called it a betrayal. He accused Christine and Janelle of weaponizing the cameras to embarrass Robyn. Robyn, shocked, kept insisting that she didn't know the numbers. Kody managed all the finances. But Christine, according to insiders, wasn't having it. She extracted a creased list from her handbag, a line-by-line account of transactions she felt were connected to Kody Pass. Some of that money, she said, had flowed straight into Robyn's house and repairs. A producer hesitated and asked, "Do you have concrete evidence?" Christine's response, tranquil but incisive, "I have screenshots. Whether or not that evidence ever gets to air remains to be seen." But by those in the room, a shiver ran over everyone. Robyn's expression changed. She became from shocked to extremely vigilant. And Kody, the moment the cameras were turned off, he allegedly called his attorney. He threatened to sue if another financial scene was made without him if producers continued to turn the family against itself. Janelle, who happens to be nearby, is reported to have laughed and grumbled. That ship sailed years ago. Behind the scenes, the producers were stuck. They just acquired the very thing reality TV producers dream about: real conflict, real emotion, and possible real evidence. But could they utilize it? Would it attract viewers or initiate legal pandemonium? No one knew for sure. And just as they were trying to figure out how to deal with the fallout, another curve was thrown. Word began to spread around TLC's inner circle. Janelle and Christine may not be remaining for season 20. It began as a rumor, then one field producer blurted it out. And then came a late-night call that confirmed what many suspected. TLC was secretly considering a Plan B, not merely a "Where Are They Now" feature. A full-fledged spin-off series, a new beginning, one that does not include Kody or Robyn. Working title, Sister Strong. The idea, Christine's Airbnb business, Janelle's flower farm, cross-country road trips, cameos from the children, and, best of all, for fans anyway, not a moment of Kody or Robyn. Sources close to the show say early discussions were charged. One executive reportedly sat down after screening some recent scenes featuring Christine and Janelle as they traveled to Utah and exclaimed, "There's more happiness in these 10 minutes than all of season." 19 focus groups allegedly labeled the two relatable, resilient, and real. Christine's romance with David, fans crave it. Janelle's raw healing after Garrison's death. Viewers are starved for that candor. If the show moves forward under the Sister Strong name, TLC may finally be signaling a post-Kody future, especially if season 20 negotiations fall apart completely. And then Kody found out. According to insiders, he stormed into a production meeting uninvited, shouting, "You're making a show without me. Over my dead body." Robyn, walking silently alongside, said nothing, but her silence spoke volumes. After all the crying, all the public pleading, the possibility of being benched was almost too much to bear for Christine and Janelle, however. This moment was different. After so many years feeling silenced, cornered, or controlled, suddenly they had the upper hand, at face value, remain neutral. They released the standard. Comment season 20 wasn't canceled, merely rescheduled. However, in secrecy, it became apparent that something much more significant was in the works. Contracts were being written, locations were quietly searched, schedules floated by, and this time, the spotlight wasn't on Kody anymore. Kristen's daughter, Tripase, was reportedly thrilled about the new direction. Even some of Janelle's grandkids could make cameo appearances. A clear message was emerging. This family was on the move, and they weren't waiting for Kody to get in step. But the spin-off wasn't the only surprise. As Christine and Janelle were peering into the future, Christine made a subtle move in court, one Kody wasn't expecting. It wasn't a prenup. It wasn't real estate. Word at the courthouse was that Christine had filed for past due child support, reportedly related to unpaid contributions for Trey, going back a number of years. The document's sources say ranged from before and after the breakup. TLC might never actually show the court filing on TV, legal regulations being what they are, but those close to the situation say it shook Kody, already teetering on the brink over contracts and spin-off rumors. He allegedly exploded the instant he was served. "She's doing this now. After I let her walk away clean," he reportedly yelled. Some believe Christine's move was practical, tied to TLC slashing the episode count. Fewer episodes meant smaller checks, and Christine may have simply been protecting Treya's future. Others say she'd been holding on to the decision, waiting for just the right moment. Either way, the Kody-Robyn camp did not take it well. Robyn, looking shaken, was quoted as repeatedly saying, "We can't afford another legal battle." And one source says she quoted herself more than once, "But the money's already spent." That remark stirred up old rumors. Had the profits of Coyote Pass, intended to be divided equally among all the wives, already been spent on Robyn's house, her bills, her living expenses? And now, with legal filings in motion, Kody's financial footprint might finally come into full view, whether the cameras rolled or not. Even Meri, who's mostly stayed out of the drama, appeared to throw shade during a live stream. She made a cryptic comment. "Some people pretend they're broke after living big for years." Fans instantly knew who she meant, but perhaps the biggest surprise was TLC's response. Rather than stepping back from the gunk, producers allegedly began arguing over whether to put it on. Red tape is complicated, naturally, but sources indicate they've already shot a reaction day with Christine. No courtrooms, just her at home speaking in a calm voice about why she made her decision. In that scene, she allegedly says, "It's not revenge, it's responsibility." That alone, producers say, would be enough to be used as the title of the episode. While that was going on, Kody's control of the story was unraveling. The spin-off was picking up steam. The demand for a financial audit still hadn't dissipated. And now there were legal papers flying, and it was about to get even uglier. Because just when Kody thought things couldn't possibly get any worse, a paper trail supposedly emerged, one leading directly to Robyn's front door. For years, online fans had been throwing around the phrase, "follow the money." Well, production leaks indicate that someone finally did. A set of reported internal documents supposedly uncovered that money from a sale at Coyote Pass had been used quietly to pay for Robyn's mansion, down payment not included. Reports contained things such as imported hardwood flooring, custom lighting installations, high-end security systems, and one jaw-dropping invoice, a private design consultant charging close to $80,000. All of it, insiders say, paid for on what was meant to be family money for all. The minute producers heard about the leak, it all blew. Some of the staffers wanted to confirm it and share it. Others were afraid of the legal backlash. But two sources tell us fan fury had already begun making its way up the chain. As things came to a boil on TV, fans were working overtime off screen, connecting the dots in real time. They were referencing Zillow listings, screenshotting past episodes, and cross-checking timelines with publicly available construction permits. The mansion money trail wasn't speculation any longer. It was turning into evidence. And then came the wild card, Meri. Distant, quiet, and lately more concerned with her own label than the family soap opera, Meri hadn't been at the forefront for a while, but then this happened quickly. According to one of the crew members, Meri quietly mentioned that she still possessed records of the initial Coyote Pass meetings, screenshots, emails, possibly even scanned checks. No one is sure what's inside that file, but one producer reported that it was enough to make Robyn pale. Robyn, insiders claim, is now in full P-War survival mode. There's a rumor that she pleaded with TLC not to air any mention of how her mansion was paid for, afraid that the backlash would be savage. Another reports she was utterly shocked, adamant she had no notion the money was from the family's communal property kitty. But at this point, it might not matter whether Robyn did or not. Christine and Janelle apparently still intend to bring it up on camera. And if they do make it into the final cut, it'll be the first time the show actually confronts the money divide. No more dancing around it with mellow music and tearful B-roll. For Kody, the timing could not be worse. With Christine's child support complaint already causing friction, with the season already cut down, and now this mansion money trail, his whole persona as the stable family provider was beginning to disintegrate on set. Several insiders report Kody has been growing more volatile, missing marks, skipping interviews, lashing out at staff. One producer even accused him of muttering under his breath, "This is character assassination in disguise as reality TV." While that was happening, TLC had choices to make, and they weren't pleasant. Advertisers were spooked, ratings forecasts were in the tank, and one leaked company memo spelled it out in blunt terms: trim more episodes, or cancel the season altogether. In TLC's executive suite offices on its top floor, the atmosphere had turned from mere damage control to outright triage. A source close to the situation said the network had been monitoring ad sales for season 20 week to week, and things were not going well. As real-life drama spilled onto social media, some sponsors exited quietly. The majority of them cited the same worries: child support petitions, money leaks, and fan ire. That's when the network wrote what insiders referred to as the episode endgame memo. 3 possibilities were on the table: bump the season into a 3-act storyline, make it all one send-off special, or cancel it altogether. And what shocked staff the most? Option 3, the complete cancellation, was seriously on the table. One executive assistant who was on the strategy call described the atmosphere in the room as grim. Some of them felt that the franchise had topped out with Christine's wedding storyline, and keeping it going any longer would just stain what was left. Others pushed back, arguing the show still had worth as a window into contemporary divorce, reinvention, and messy family fallout. But one reality became apparent: the sister wives were no longer wives or sisters, just people loosely connected to the same tempest. Then came the shock idea, and it shook everything. Source close to 2 different camps said someone floated an innovative new idea: a standalone 2-hour 80-face special with the following title: Sister Wives. The final split. It would include never-before-seen footage, recorded confessionals from major family members, and, if editors could make it happen in time, a combined sit-down with Janelle, Christine, and Meri. Robyn and Kody would be extended invitations, but not promised. The tone raw, honest. Final. Closure, not reunion. One producer described it as the anti-reunion reunion. Another indicated that it could close the franchise with dignity and flame. But before any plans were made official, Kody caught wind of it, and that's when everything blew up again. According to sources, he stormed into a production meeting with senior TLC executives and delivered a full-fledged ultimatum: "You cut me out, I bury this show." He reportedly threatened to quit, go public, and even name names from behind the scenes. It wasn't the first time he'd made such a threat, but this time the stakes were higher. But this time Kody's threats did not stick like they once had, because secretly the actual writing was already on the wall. Or rather, on a trademark form. TLC had submitted a new title in secret, and it didn't mention Kody's name anywhere. For a man who had defined his entire existence by being the patriarch of the family, the focus of the camera, the puppet master, that silence was deafening, louder than any battle. Kody had screamed, he'd given ultimatums. He'd stormed out of sessions and berated producers. But according to insiders, TLC didn't budge. They kept moving forward, reviewing fall schedules, prepping what little footage they had left. And one anonymous executive reportedly put it bluntly: if he walks, we're fine. The story's bigger than him now. And maybe that was the real blow, because for years Kody's chaos was the show. But now, the women he tried to manage, dismiss, or control, they were the ones carrying the future. The trademark was clear: sister strong. Already signed up for streaming networks, branded products, and even a short-form documentary spin-off. Though TLC has yet to confirm, rumors are that if season 20 is seen at all, it'll be a bridge linking the past narrative to the next. A transition, not a goodbye. And what form would that take? Sources indicate the last episodes will track Christine and Janelle's new directions, while Kody and Robyn turn up only when necessary to tie up loose ends. One source revealed Robyn cried on the final taping. She repeatedly said, "I never signed up to be the villain, but off the record." A crew member allegedly shrugged and said this was always Christine's exit story. Kody just never realized it. Now the network teeters on the brink. Will ratings continue to slip, or will people's curiosity get the better of them? The audience is conflicted, angry but still glued to the screen, dedicated but exhausted. And what they need now is straightforward truth, transparency, responsibility. They want to know what happened to the money, what the family really suffered, and how these women in their own distinct ways gained the strength to leave. If TLC allows us that, even in one big 2-hour conclusion, they may just be able to close the book with the respect it's owed, the way it should have ended all along, with the women tall and unbroken, telling their truth, claiming their voices. And Kody, well, sources tell us he's still calling producers, still shopping ideas for his own spin-offs. But the calls are becoming less frequent, the energy on the other end waning, because ultimately it wasn't the divorces or the distance that brought an end to his reign, it was his own tantrums that at last closed the door on his domination. So now it's your turn. What do you think? Should TLC give us the honest tell, all we've been waiting years to witness? Or is it time to shut the book for good and allow Christine, Janelle, and perhaps even Meri to pen their next chapters on their own terms? Let us know down in the comments. And before you leave, don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep watching. The next video is live on your screen, and trust me, Kody's not going to like what's in it.